Hello students, welcome to Shivjyoti Educational Group Kota. This is Barkha Gaur, your science teacher. This is the second video lecture of chapter 2, that is Nutrition in Animals of class 7th. How are you children? Fine? Okay. In the last video of this chapter only, we have learnt about digestion in all organisms in general, and also we started about digestion in humans, and in that lecture we have understood about the tooth. I hope you remembered. Now in this lecture we'll continue the digestion of humans only, and we'll start with the tongue. All you must be very familiar that tongue is how important it is. We all know that it helps in tasting any food. It gives the idea of which food we are eating and what is its taste. Hello children. So we know that tongue, which is present in our mouth, it is a fleshy muscular organ. It is attached at the back of the floor of our buccal cavity, and it performs many important functions. One function you know that it helps to detect the taste in our food, like whether the food is salty, sour, bitter or sweet. Also we know that it helps us to speak. This is also very important function children. But how it helps in the digestion of food? Actually it helps in mixing saliva with the food. When we chew the food with the help of teeth, the tongue helps in mixing of saliva with the food, so that the food becomes moist and it is swallowed easily. If the food is dry or if it is not mixed properly, it will be difficult for us to swallow it. The tongue helps in pushing and thus swallowing the food into the food pipe, and also it helps in getting the different tastes of food. So we were talking about buccal cavity. In buccal cavity we have understood about the tooth, and now the next is tongue. Now the third most important thing is salivary glands. All of when we see the very delicious food or hot and sizzling food, we see what happens. Tell. Yes, of course, the mouth starts watering. When we smell a very good food, or when we open our tiffin, or when we open some pickle bottle, what happens? The mouth starts watering. So what is that water which is coming into our mouth? Actually it is the saliva. So from where this saliva is coming? The saliva is coming from salivary glands. In our mouth there are 3 locations from where saliva is coming. The salivary glands produces saliva. Actually the saliva contains an enzyme called amylase. Children, saliva is a chemical which helps in digestion of food, and it contains an enzyme called amylase. So what is the function of this amylase? It breaks down the starch present in the food into sugars. You can do a small activity. Take a small piece of chapati which do not contain salt and keep on chewing for 2, 3, 5 minutes. Don't swallow it and just chew it. After some time you will taste that chapati as sweet. You will feel that the chapati is now sweeter. Sweet ho gayi wo. So what happened actually? The carbohydrate of the chapati converted into sugar. That's why it is tasting sweet. Okay. So this is how you can check that how does amylase work. The amylase breaks down the starch present in the food into sugar. Also, if saliva is not there, the food will remain dry and will not be able to swallow it. The saliva also makes the food wet and slimy so that it can be easily swallowed. Now the next part of our digestive system is pharynx. Children, pharynx is the place, or it is the part where food pipe and windpipe both have a common passage. They both are meeting together. So the chewed food is pushed into a long and narrow muscular tube called the food pipe or esophagus. So from the mouth the food goes into the esophagus. Actually, esophagus does not perform any digestion. It does not help in digestion. It just pass the food into the next part, that is stomach. The pushing down of food by the walls of the esophagus is in a wave-like action is called peristalsis. Actually, the food pipe gets contracted and relaxed, contracted and relaxed. So this manner in which the esophagus contracts, it moves like a wave. It gives a wavy action and the food is passed forward. So this action is called peristalsis, or it may be called as peristaltic movement. Fine. So when the food is pushed through the esophagus, where it will pass, it will move into the stomach. So next part of our digestive system is stomach, where the main digestion of the food is going to take place. Children, it is very important part of our body. From esophagus, the food goes to the stomach. Actually, the stomach is a J-shaped. It has a shape of J, capital J. It is thick-walled organ present on the left side of the abdomen. You can feel it on the left side of your stomach, that is abdomen. It is the widest part of the alimentary canal. The inner wall of the stomach, actually, the inner wall of stomach contains gastric glands, which are of very importance for digestion. So, which glands they are? Gastric glands. Okay. Now, what does gastric gland contain? Of course, if they are the glands, they must be secreting some juices. So, how these juices work? Let us see. These glands secrete gastric juice, or they are called as digestive juices. Actually, gastric word is related to stomach. Okay. So, gastric juices means the juices released from the stomach wall, which contains three substances. Three substances are secreted from these juices: hydrochloric acid, pepsin and mucus. Children, these words are new for you, so listen carefully. Hydrochloric acid. You must have heard that hydrochloric acid is very harmful. So, but it is how it is protected, that also I'll tell you. But let us see what is the function of hydrochloric acid in the stomach. Actually, HCl or hydrochloric acid kills many harmful bacteria which enter along with the food. When we open our mouth to eat the food, so along with the food, many bacteria also come into our mouth, and they go into stomach also. So first function of hydrochloric acid is they kill the harmful bacteria. Second, for the digestion of food substances, it makes the medium in the stomach acidic. So hydrochloric acid helps to make the medium acidic, which enhances the action of digestive enzymes. Actually, digestive enzymes will work only in the acidic medium, so it is necessary. Now, if the walls of stomach will have HCl, then what will happen? The stomach wall will get burned, but it doesn't happen. So there is one substance present called mucus, which protects the inner lining of the stomach from the action of enzymes and acid. The mucus protects the walls of stomach from acid. Third thing is, in the acidic medium, pepsin digests the proteins. There is an enzyme called pepsin which helps in the digestion of proteins. So this pepsin will work only in the acidic medium. So the acidic medium is provided by what? By HCl. So it will help the pepsin to digest the proteins in the food to form simple substances called peptones. Children, you know already that the food which we take in our body is in complex form, but when the digestion takes place, this complex food is broken down into simpler substances. So that's what we are going to understand in this chapter. Now the digestion part, when the digestion part is completed, the food goes into the small intestine. You can see in the picture. Now although its name is small, but the intestine is longest. So it is the longest part of alimentary canal. It is about 7.5 meters long and it is arranged in the form of a coil. You can see in the diagram it is arranged in the form of a coil. Otherwise this much long intestine would not be able to fit into our body. The small intestine receives secretion from two glands. It receives secretion from two glands, that is liver and pancreas. You can again see in the diagram, liver is also there and pancreas are also there. So liver and pancreas, they also secrete some secretions like juices, and the secretions from these two glands come into the small intestine. The wall of small intestine also secretes some juice which is called as intestinal juices. So three things, that is liver, pancreas and small intestine. Together their secretion helps in the digestion. Now what is the function of liver? Actually liver is a, you have seen in the previous diagram, the liver is a reddish brown gland situated in the upper part of the abdomen. It is the largest gland of the body. It secretes bile juice. Remember this word children, bile juice. Actually this is the juice secreted by the liver, which is stored in a sac like structure called as gallbladder. In the diagram you can see gallbladder. This store the bile juice. Bile juice helps in digestion of fats. Now with the help of liver, the fat will be digested with the help of bile juice. Now, how does it take place? Actually bile juice breaks the big droplets of fat into small droplets. This is called emulsification of fat, and it makes their digestion and absorption easier. So here we saw that digestion of fat takes place with the help of bile juice. The next part is pancreas. Pancreas is a large cream colored gland located just below the stomach. It secretes pancreatic juice and releases it into the intestine. Now the pancreatic juice, how does it work? It acts on the carbohydrate and proteins. Okay, they help in the digestion of carbohydrates and proteins, and these substances are changed into simpler forms. As we have understood, as we have discussed earlier, that intestinal juice is secreted by intestine. How does it work? Let us see. The enzymes present in the intestinal juices act upon the partially digested food. Till now we have seen that the food is partially digested but not completely. So now whole digestion will complete now. That means partially digested food will convert into now simple soluble substances. What are those substances? Let us see. The carbohydrates finally get broken into glucose. We know children, glucose is the simplest form of carbohydrate. And fats, they get broken into fatty acids and glycerol. In the liver, with the help of bile juice, the bigger droplets of fat are converted into smaller droplets of fats. Now these smaller drops of fats will convert into fatty acids and glycerol, again which is the simpler form. And last, the proteins will get broken into amino acids. Earlier we have seen proteins get broken into peptones. Now finally they will get broken into amino acids. So we saw that all the main three complex food have converted into simpler form. Children, I hope you are getting. Now we have seen that digestion is completed. Digestion part is completed. All the complex food have converted into simpler. Now what's the next? What will happen next, children? Absorption of the food. So mainly absorption takes place in the small intestine. You must have seen the structure of sponge. Sponge, how does it absorb water? No? Similarly, our small intestine also absorb digested food. Actually digested food is in the liquid form. Now the food has converted into totally soluble form, liquid form. Now the walls of intestine can absorb food. Blood vessels are present in the small intestine in the In the diagram you can see. Now the structure which is responsible for absorption are called villi. These villi are the finger-like projections which are present in the wall of small intestine. The inner wall of small intestine has millions of finger-like projections or folds which are called villi. In singular we can call it as villus. Each villus has a network of thin and small blood vessels called capillaries. These villi give the inner walls of small intestine a very large surface area so that more and more food can be absorbed. Okay, so how does villi work? Actually, villi increases the surface area of intestine, small intestine, so that more and more food can be absorbed. What is the main function of small intestine, children? The answer is absorption of food. And which part of small intestine helps in absorption? That is the villi. So the surface of villi absorbs the digested food materials and passes them to the fine blood capillaries. Now from here, blood will carry the digested food, and the next step will be assimilation of food. Now the digested food after absorption will be sent to different parts of the body so that all other life processes also can be carried out properly. So actually what happens in assimilation? Blood carries the absorbed food from the small intestine to different organs of the body, where it is used to build complex substances such as proteins which are required by the body for growth and repair. This is the final stage in the process of digestion and it is known as assimilation. And the last step is digestion of undigested food. We know, children, that all the food cannot be digested. So some part of food or some parts of food remains undigested and unabsorbed, which passes from the small intestine into the large intestine, and this step or this process is called digestion. So this was all about digestion in humans. I hope you understood. One more organism which we are going to learn about is amoeba. We are very much familiar with the amoeba. We have learned in the previous classes also. Okay, how does amoeba capture its food? Now we'll see in this chapter that how does amoeba takes its food. Children, you know that amoeba is a single celled organism. It does not have any mouth, it does not have hands. Then how it would be capturing its food? It's very interesting. Although it is a microscopic single celled organism which are found in ponds, pools and ditches, but actually it also takes its food or it captures its food with the help of finger like projections called pseudopodia. Pseudopodia are what? Pseudo means false. The false feet are formed in the body of amoeba which are meant for locomotion also, and they help in capturing of food also. As we have seen in humans, all the steps which occurred in humans, they will take place in amoeba also, that is ingestion, digestion, absorption, assimilation, everything. Now let us see in briefly. Ingestion. Now how does amoeba ingest the food? So as I told you, pseudopodia, with the help of pseudopodia it will ingest the food. That means it will engulf, the food is engulfed and a food vacuole is formed. We'll see in the diagram in the next slide. So after ingestion, digestion will take place. The food vacuole which is formed, the food is captured in that food vacuole and it will be broken down into simple soluble substances. You can see in the diagram. In the first step, amoeba is there, food particle is also there. Now the amoeba will form false feet which are called pseudopodia. The food goes there, and when amoeba traps the food with the help of pseudopodia, food vacuole is formed, and in the food vacuole food particles get trapped. Okay, the third step of nutrition in amoeba is absorption. the digested food present in the food vacuole is absorbed directly into the cytoplasm. Then assimilation. Assimilation means the digested and absorbed food is stored and utilized for its growth, development, multiplication and release of energy. So as the amoeba is very simpler organism, so all the process will takes in simple form only. The last step is egestion. The undigested food is thrown outside the body by the vacuole. So with the help of diagram also you can see that food vacuole helps in the digestion of food. Next children, one more topic is there, nutrition in ruminants. We have understood what are ruminants. We know that what are ruminants. The grass eating animals such as cows, buffalo, deer, sheep. You must have seen many times these kinds of animal, they sit and just chew. There is nothing is kept there for eating, but just they chew with the teeth and no food you will see there. That means they are what they do then, what they are chewing. Actually, when they take the food, they have a fear that they may be attacked by some other animal. So what they do, they eat the food hurriedly and swallow it. Okay, but the food is not properly digested. Still the digestion is left. So what they do, they first to avoid being caught by carnivores, grass eating animals quickly eat their food. Then they move to a safer places and bring the food back into the mouth in small lumps and chew it. This process of chewing food is called rumination. When the food is not there in front of them but still they are eating, that means it is called chewing of cud or rumination, and these animals are called ruminants. Those animals do this activity are called ruminants. Examples are what? Cow, buffalo, deer and sheep. Actually, you can see in the diagram, there are 4 parts in their stomach. Their stomach is divided into 4 parts: rumen, reticulum, omasum and abomasum. How does digestion takes place in their food? The food first goes into the first chamber, that is the rumen. Here it is partially digested and is called cud. Then it goes to the second chamber or the reticulum, from where it is returned to the mouth. Now through the first 2 chambers, the food enters the third and the smallest chamber, that is omasum. And finally the food enters the 4th chamber, which is called as abomasum. So children, you saw that ruminants, how does the digestion of food takes place in ruminants and how they are able to digest it properly. The other steps of digestion are the same. Children, so we have learnt about human digestion in humans, digestion in amoeba and in ruminants also. I hope you understand the chapter. Go through it once again. Till then, we'll meet in the next video. Till then, goodbye.